Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. It's Christina from Our Wood Home. Today we're going to be talking about Proverbs 31 verse 22, which is continuing along in our Proverbs 31 study series. This verse is interesting because it seems pretty straightforward, but of course with most passages in Proverbs 31 there is a deeper meaning to it. Let's read that together and then discuss what it means and how it applies to us as modern women. She makes coverings for herself. Her clothing is fine linen and purple. So of course this seems like it's talking about some type of clothing maybe, since it says clothing in the second half of the verse and it talks about it being of high quality with the linen and the purple. We know historically that purple dye was quite costly, but is that all this verse means, that she makes clothing for herself that is expensive and high quality? I don't think that's the meaning here. Of course, I could be wrong, but from what I know about the Proverbs 31 woman, that's not the case. I read a lot of commentaries that said the word covering might mean tapestry, which translates into some type of decorative wall hanging or a bed covering. But I think there is more to this verse besides decorating our home and wearing expensive clothes. Maybe the point of this verse is to stress that we are supposed to take care of our appearance and do our best to look put together. But that doesn't really apply very well if somebody is unable to afford expensive clothes or even trendy clothes. From what I can surmise after reading all of Proverbs 31 many times over the last few years, the woman described in this passage is of good social standing. Her husband has a well-paying and well-respected job, and she is expected to be a compliment to him. And I don't mean compliment as in giving praise, but compliment with an E as in a helper. I'll link the video talking about this up across the top of the screen so you can check that out for more clarification. But the wife of somebody who has a well-respected, well-paying job is probably maybe required or assumed that she would put effort into her appearance, maybe with the best garments that she can afford to buy. And that may be true of this passage, but I don't think that's the deep meaning that we should be taking from this. Maybe this verse means that we are supposed to treat ourselves with respect, treat our bodies with respect, because we've been given a new life through Jesus Christ. But maybe this verse also talks about homemaking. Let's assume that coverings does mean some type of tapestry or decorative item. We can go out on a limb and say that the first part of verse 22 means modern day women should be putting an effort into the upkeep of our home. That isn't to say we need to decorate in a certain style or with expensive furniture, or even be so focused on cleanliness that we forget to enjoy our space. Here are some practical ways that we can be focused on the upkeep of our home without it becoming all-consuming. Firstly, we can make sure that our house is picked up before everybody goes to bed. This doesn't have to be something that we do by ourselves. We can enlist the help of our family members, but I find that doing a quick tidy of the living areas before bed really sets the next day off on a good note. Secondly, we can work to reduce clutter of unused or not needed items in our home. The point should be to reduce things that are taking up space that we don't need or use. Another thing we can do is to keep our home organized so that everyone knows where to find items, and whether or not they look hard enough is up to them. But this is as simple as having a place for everyone's wallets, purses, keys, that kind of thing, or making sure that our kitchen is laid out and organized in a way that makes sense for people who also use that space, not just ourselves. Similarly, we can organize our linen closets and our bathroom cabinets so that everything is accessible and easy to see. Another tip to prioritize the upkeep of our home is to keep our linens and bed sheets fresh. I don't know about you, but I like to change out the bed sheets and the hand towels every week, and I change out the dishcloth and drying towel every day. This is not only good for cleanliness, but it just makes things feel fresh and new and clean. Something else I find helpful is to create a schedule or a routine for our homemaking and maybe the rest of our day, depending on what we have going on. I have been meaning to do a post about creating a homemaking schedule versus a homemaking routine. So if that's something you're interested in, please let me know in the comments and I will get right on that. Also, let me know if you think you prefer a schedule or a routine for your day. Creating these is not very difficult. It does take a bit of time to start, but once you have it established, it can really be a help for the rest of your day. This helps us stay on track and focused, and also gives us some wiggle room if something comes up and we're not able to stick to our schedule or routine. And speaking of a schedule and routine, I think making time for our housework is important as well. It can seem daunting at times, especially if we let things build up and accumulate, if we don't stay on top of cleaning and tidying, but carving out time, even if it's just 10 minutes a day to do a quick tidy of our house, I think that really helps make our home more enjoyable for everybody that lives there. Something else I want to touch on that I believe this verse is teaching us is that we should spend some time on our appearance. I don't think we need to be spending so much time that we get to the point of vanity, but I also don't think we should just be staying in our pajamas with unbrushed hair all day. Of course, there are situations where that isn't possible for us to get dressed and wear a full face of makeup, wash our hair, that kind of thing, and I think that's fine if that is an occasional occurrence, but to make that a habit is probably not a good idea. I think a lot of people find themselves too busy to put any effort into their appearance, especially in recent times when more people have been working from home, staying at home. But I think it really helps set the tone for the day if we just get dressed in day clothes, put our hair back or brush our hair, something like that, and just look somewhat presentable. I personally spend only a few minutes getting ready in the morning, just changing my clothes and braiding or putting my hair up in some way. And I'm comfortable, but I also feel like I can be more productive because I'm not just wearing lazy clothes. I think this verse in Proverbs 31 can be a good reminder for when we feel like we are unmotivated to do housework or unmotivated to get dressed out of pajamas. Keep in mind that I'm not claiming this is the only meaning of this passage. This is just my opinion and what I've gathered from doing research. Of course, there are probably other opinions and commentaries out there on this passage, but since this is my channel, I get to express my opinions. I hope that you have been enjoying this Proverbs 31 series. We're almost to the end of it, but I do have some other videos planned that will be talking about different passages of scripture. If you like what you have seen so far, I encourage you to give this video a thumbs up or to leave me a comment below and take a look around at some of the other videos, and if that seems interesting to you, I hope that you consider subscribing. Thank you so much and have a great rest of your day.